Yo, what's up, everybody? Coming to you today solo is Jerseymanshaggy, and guess what? I got something for you today. I got low video quality here for a good reason. It's on my 2014-ish model Toshiba crappy laptop, cheap laptop, whatever. Because today I'm gonna have I'm gonna talk about my much of my backstory that most of y'all wouldn't know about me until now. Might fill in the gaps about some prior videos I've made. Talk about what it was like growing up a bored ass only child in the middle of farmland, freaking South Jersey, you know, oh my god, and what my personal, upbringing was like, and like I said, some facts that I probably haven't ever mentioned until today, because I have some time on my hands. I've been having a couple of days in solitude, just in the room. I haven't really had the kids lately, so I got caught up studying, labeling a couple of sheets worth of coins that I'm gonna work on selling. Probably as soon as possible, because I need the money. And might I add, I'm 100% self-taught. I'm not talking about backgrounds. I gotta brag, Been reading it every year since 2010. And I think I even still have the 2010 one. I got the soft cover one. And I really just read the backstories of all these coins and other facts that your basic stoner would know. Because for example, I know that Jefferson nickel is supposed to be 5 grams. I'm very familiar with digital scales, so this is an easy concept for me, because this is also how I know I'm not getting ripped off on my sack of weed. I guess that kind of made me smarter in a way. And they say pot makes you dumber? Get the fuck out of here. 100% self-taught, no college. And I definitely was close to failing through high school too. I mean, lucky I graduated that. Went to an alternative school. That's how I graduated. Talking about upbringing, there's some of it. I was happier going to school with kids from Atlantic City, which is a rough area. And stuff like that. These thugged out kids, real actual gangbanging kids, that were really banging. And I wasn't as scared of them as I was the people from my home school in the freaking middle of nowhere. Because these guys in the middle of nowhere are far from anybody hearing you scream. So if they want to get you, they're going to get you. And the cops ain't going to know a damn thing. That's what freaks me out about living out here. Shit. Inner city, yeah, there's always crimes and stuff, but that's because they have a high population. My home school had less than 1,000 people in it. But if people got into a street fight, we knew the cops weren't gonna be breaking it up. It was getting finished by someone getting knocked the fuck out, or just someone laying it off the other guy because he gave up or something. That was usually how the fight would end. I mean, even sort of having even stupid little, literally I know this sounds like something off of TV, but this is seriously. I knew some people who had little mini fight clubs in the woods and the cornfields and stuff. These guys will fight and bet on each other. They would fight their own friends, and then 5 minutes after they just beat each other senseless, they're both shaking hands and having drinks, all right back to friend status. Me, I can't forgive that fast. I don't know, friend or not. I know they're not angry at each other, they're just doing it because of money, but you can't just beat me down and then 5 minutes later I'm gonna be drinking with you and shit. I'm gonna have to have a couple minutes to get my manhood back and everything. I mean, I'm at least the loser. Like the winner, of course, he's gonna feel generous towards everyone because he probably just won mad money. There were seriously people in my school that did these things, and how many times did they get caught? 0. Shit. Until after I graduated in 2007. I think it was the year of or the year after my graduation, they just started putting cameras in my school. And there was like between about, I'd say 900 to 1,000 kids from freshman to senior in the whole school. Like, how's that gonna work? And then they had like 2 security guards and 1 cop that was very slow and fat. And the 2 security guards were very old. These are all true stories. If you went to Buena Regional High School in this time period, early 2000s, you know this is all true. You knew that if you went to the end of the school, that you could just go to the stairway because no one ever used it. There was never any reason to use it except to go under them stairs and do something you weren't supposed to be doing. Usually, like, get some action with your girlfriend, whatever, you know, like, maybe smoke a little, drink a little. I mean, done all of the above. Guilty myself of doing it. Yes, I can admit it now, years later. Not get charged with it, you know. I love how they expunge all the pre-18 arrests, because that was my only arrest before I was 18. Is I was 17 years old, and this guy was handing me a nickel bag of some really regular weed, because back then we didn't have that, you know, killer bud like this awesome bubble kush I'm smoking today. Back then we had that brown type of bud with like 10,000 seeds in it and like stems and everything else, and just a little freaking like dime bag. Damn, I mean, it would be as much seed as it was nug every time. And this guy, he had it in his hands, just in his hands like a dummy, and I was telling him to drop it into my book bag after the security guard, the one security guard, the only one, looked away. He's like, "I'm panicking, man. I'm panicking." And just drops it while she's looking dead at us. And they used to call her Mad Dog, this old, angry looking lady. We really did nickname her that. Straight up, yo. Fucking, I end up getting my first arrest and everything over a nickel bag, and I was 17. Had it happened 6 months later, I would get charges as an adult. My first charge would have been over a nickel bag. And then they, like, the vice principal asked me the dumbest questions in the process of catching me. He didn't even raise his voice. First of all, he sounded more like a hippie stoner than I did. And he's like, "Why did you have that marijuana?" And I'm like, "Well, because I was gonna smoke it, but it don't seem like it's gonna pan out that way." And I really answered like this because I knew I was about to get just a petty charge and 10-day suspension anyway. And freaking, he's like, "No, why do you have to have it in school though?" And right then I knew that he was probably a smoker, just saying like, "Oh, do it at home, whatever, you know." And I was like, "Well, honestly, have you looked at my address? I am like half a mile from the nearest freaking corner store. Like, damn, I don't got a bike even. Like, I ain't going to go no 4 miles or something for a freaking dime bag, nickel bag. You crazy? Not even 17 did I have that much freaking energy for that. Nuh-uh." So yeah, and then they take me in to state police barracks, and I guess they wanted to make it, make a big deal of it, do the whole pat down job, because they pat me down more than they did in my adult arrest. The same police too. And these guys had me stripped down to my boxers, which actually happened to be some Potley boxers from Spencer's. And the cop says to me, he's like, "That's why you're in here." And I'm like, "Bro, are you looking at my butt?" And the cop couldn't even take me seriously at that point. They were like, "We'll just tell you when it's time for you to go and everything, okay? Just hang tight." And they're like cracking up still under their breath and trying to maintain professionalism, because it's like, whatever, I'm gonna be here like 4 hours most, like, what are they gonna do to a 7-year-old or 17-year-old? Damn, I wasn't that young. And yeah, freaking my mom gets there, and I'm literally just laying on the bench because I'm the only person in there. I think I'll put someone in with a minor, and it's a holding cell. I'm on this uncomfortable metal bench, but I'm just laying with my legs up, like just arms like this, and I'm just laying back. And my mom's like, "Wow, what do you think of yourself right now?" And I'm like, "Chilling." She was like, "Oh, you're in so much trouble." And I think I did get like a mild punishment, but they already knew what I did. They really weren't happy that I did it. And got caught. It was something that they didn't want me doing around them because I was still under 18, kind of thing. But they understood. They knew it wasn't a big thing. So that was my big criminal first charge. I had a freaking year of probation, drug test and shit over that. Then over his dumb ass panicking. He would have just acted like we were talking and sat down for a second. We would have been good. Fucking people, man. People get you into things, that shows you right there the dumbest situations. And yeah, that's yep, first charge right there. And I remember all the first time smoking. First time I ever actually got baked from smoking. I was 14. It was in my shed. My parents were home. I swear, man, it lasted so many hours. I wish I could feel that intensity, like now, like I did back then. Like, I don't know how many other people probably agree. And first time I ever got really shit-faced drunk, me and my friend Frank had found this over 10-year-old vial of nasty, and I mean nasty, cleaning fluid type tasting gin, just straight gin. And it was like, we poured it shot for shot, like I'd take one, she takes one, and we counted them. And like, I'm not quite sure if we might have fucked up the count a few times on both of our ends, but from what I gathered, like, she started feeling sick and staggering and falling all over the place after like 15 or 16. And yeah, that was also the first day that someone threw up in my shed. Thanks, Veronica. Yeah, just like a sister to me. Only neighbor I had growing up. So we did all the mischievous shit together. And then my other main friend, y'all know Fuzzy Nugs very well from my videos. Oh yeah, he got his smoking cherry busted by yours truly. I created this total, like, more so than me, stoner. Like, I was the catalyst to all that. Big Fuzzy Nugs might not be the same dude if it wasn't for me. In my Chappelle DVD that we rolled a few joints up on out in the woods behind the mall. Yeah, I think that was like a year after I started or something. I was definitely an influencer. Did the same thing to my cousin, who was like a year or two younger than me. Got his cherry pop with smoking. God, I sound like a bad person. I did get more responsible though. Obviously, I definitely have limitations about what I talk about around my kids. That comes first now. But it ain't here, so I'm just gonna go on and on. Because I can keep going. Like, I mean, oh my god, well, I don't even need to give you guys stories about Fuzzy Nug, man. Like, that motherfucker. Trust me, before all the videos in the earlier YouTube years, we had a lot more of classic moments with that unfortunately weren't on tape, because God knows I wish they were. I'd probably be famous. Actually, we did used to tape each other on them small little mini VHS style tapes. You remember those? In like the very early 2000s, we used to like backyard wrestle each other and tape it. But that was about as much as we ever taped back before digital cams were really a big thing, and phones and all that. Like, yeah. Life would have sucked a lot less out here if we had technology that we do now, because I could have been doing this shit a long time ago, talking to everybody from my room. Yeah. Wouldn't have grown up so solitary and secluded and withdrawn, maybe. But, you know, I learned how to make use of all my time, you know, even all the time to myself. Make use of every moment. And that's how you teach yourself, you know. There's pros and cons to everything. I mean, you know, they say, like, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I think that just what doesn't fuck you up will make you stronger. I think that would be a more appropriate phrase. And again, even things that have fucked me up physically and mentally have made me stronger too. So I don't know. Like, I guess it depends on the person and the situation. That's another thing, man. I got picked on a lot as a kid. Took a lot of shit, you know. That was why I was a little hippie pothead kid. Just stayed to myself and had my couple of friends. It was that way for many years, but then, like, I just came out of my shell all at once and just started hitting back and hitting hard. Kind of got fed up. I mean, like, really fed up. Because I used to get bad, like, all the time. Like, always. Like, I mean, my first concussion was in, like, 7th grade in school. Like, my first confirmed concussion. And I remember, like, the most serious thing that my parents were worried about was, oh, just make sure you stay awake for 12 hours, because they say that you could, like, slip into a coma otherwise. It's like, damn, dude, now you just add paranoia onto the fucked upness of my whole experience of the whole day. Like, most parents should be saying, like, what the fuck is wrong with this school day in 7th grade? This kid's getting a fucking concussion when he didn't even, like, start with the guy or nothing. Like, the thing is just because I just, you know, people are as cool as you'll let them be around me. Like, at least my upbringing. And I think that's why, like, you know, culturally, New Jersey does have a bad rep, because people can be very cruel, very gossipy, and they will prey on your weaknesses if you let them, and they'll always try and top your strengths in one way or another by stepping it up a notch. That's why I don't even act strong even when I am. Fuck that. Another part of my background, when I was like 18, through a very close person to me who was professional at the time and everything, I learned a lot of Muay Thai style MMA, and that's like basically a kicking oriented type of style. Like, and he thought that would be great for me because, you know, my extremely long legs, the reach, the fact that I could easily kick above like his head, basically. And I also had a lot of strength to him. I just wasn't quite that fast. So it was like, if as long as people didn't catch it, I would usually, you know, be alright. Smooth sailing, I guess you could call it. But then I learned that there was so much more to it, because, like, I realized it was barely even we ever sparred, man. It was mostly just talking, and, like, you know, it was a lot of in here stuff, like having to train yourself, and then a lot of balancing type exercises, like holding your leg up for a certain amount of time, exercises, stupid shit like that before we ever even started to spar or even work out. I did that on and off, I'd say 5 or 6 years. And unfortunately, that dude, like, who taught me, he passed back in like 2016. But, like, yeah, he was good. And I mean, yeah, I learned whenever I could. And, you know, I definitely brag all the time about how I teach little Jason and everything. I put the offer out there to teach the others, you know, because I mean, I can't move as fast as I used to, for sure. Not after the accident I was in, and I definitely can't throw a, like, you know, jump up and do a spinning roundhouse or something without risking completely, like, knocking my hip out of whack. Like, I can't do things like that, but a lot of things I have gotten back. So much more than the doctors ever predicted. I gotta brag when I say that I had several doctors tell me that because I snapped my pelvic bone down the middle like a freaking wishbone, among all the other injuries and this, you know, traumatic concussion and everything, like, they said I would never walk again without at least needing a cane or, like, having a limp or whatever. Less than 2 months later, I was barely even limping at that point. I dropped the cane the first month, and I was already starting to climb the 15 steps up to my room. Like, you know, I would probably need a couple of Percocet to work my will up to do it, because very painful break. Very painful. And I had to relearn walking again. And for someone that, like, their main thing was kicking, you know, though I do know basic kickboxing and, like, you know, just simple basic moves to teach any kid, you know, like defensive maneuvers, like, you know, first thing I always tell my kids, defense only, you know, like, this ain't freaking Cobra Kai where you strike first, strike hard, no mercy, you know. And freaking, I take so much pride that I could at least, like, even though my body's all busted up inside and I feel pain every freaking day, make no mistake, like, cause I've had to learn to use different muscles for different things that most people do just because it's like breathing air, they just do it, you know. Had to retrain my legs, sort of, like, I don't know how to explain it. I guess, like, you know, get different muscles in different areas, because I had to be supported in a different way. It was at least 2 years before I could even throw a kick to, like, the height that I used to, and it was very slowly thrown, and it hurt at first. Like, at least once a week I feel a sharp pain down the middle of my back, like, just to remind me that, like, if I move in a certain direction or something, like, just to remind me that them two screws are fusing it together. So it would never be a smart move to, like, you know, go jumping around or, like, doing dive moves or something like that off of a freaking roof or something, like I did as a kid also. Well, that was just for fun, not during a fight. Someone dared me to dive off of a roof and on into a pool and shit, and I did. So, but I mean, nowadays, just putting my whole hip out of place, and I'm only in my early 30s. Yeah, man, I feel like I still got more knowledge to me, and like, I like that at least I have that time under my belt. And you know, I never flaunted it, never, not once. I mean, I've flaunted my recovery from my injury. I think that was a 1 in a million kind of thing. Now, if you had seen my car accident, you would know why I say that. And if you had heard the doctors, you would know why I say that. And, I mean, I'll never be 100% again. Probably never even be 50% of what I was, but it was good while it lasted, and my kids will just continue that energy for me, you know? It's like, you know, starting fresh before all the fucking up and the injuries and everything else. Whether it was because I was fucking up or just happened to me. Sadly, the worst things happen to me just by coincidence. You know? I don't know, I feel like I've definitely been through it all. I got, you know, robbed, freaking butcher knife point for the first time when I was like 16. Got, robbed at gunpoint the first time when I was like 18. And shot at while me and my friend ran across the park. But we were like zigzagging it, so they might have just shot into the air for all I know. I wasn't looking back, that's all I knew. And I was telling him, I'm like, I am never meeting you in town again. Fuck this shit. At least where I live, it's only when you have beef with someone that you gotta worry. Like, we're just walking down the street smoking a Newport, and we get beat by these, well, we don't get beat, but we get the cigarette stolen straight out of his mouth by these few, like, gangbanger looking types. And this is like around midnight in the rough part of town, and yeah, there was just two of us, and like, I think around like 6 of them, probably packing weapons. And I don't mean just simple weapons, I'm talking the ones that go bang bang. And yep, we were right, because this dumbass actually went back to go say to the one guy, like, oh, you wouldn't be like that if your friends went with you. And he was like, nigga, you think I need that? I didn't mean to say the N-word, sorry to anybody that took offense, but that was what he said. And then I proceeded to immediately run. And I mean, I think my friend was dumb as hell for like actually trying to come back and challenge him. I mean, I know he was defending his manhood, but there's a time where you gotta realize you ain't Superman. You know, even like professional athletes, professionals, they know when like when they can't handle a situation where they don't have control of nothing. Man, mistakes growing up. That was just being in the wrong place, wrong time, so many times, and that's too common around here. That's why we get such a bad rep in this region. It's sad, man. It really is. Like, to like some of the areas I live down south, they think shit like that only happens in the movies. In some of the kind of places I was staying, it was beautiful out there. I would totally do that again as a retirement type thing. But yeah, this is what I grew up used to. I mean, there was a fun time. So, you know, being mischievous, and then definitely when I started defending myself, I came out my shell a lot. You know, got a lot more friends, and you know, partied into my 20s, which then led to me partying too much and becoming a douchebag and making a bunch of mistakes and getting arrests. My first adult charge was a fight I had with a 20-year-old guy when I was 23 down in Virginia. And like, he grabbed me up and everything, but I hit him right in the face with a closed fist first. But after I said, oh hell no, rich boy, you did not just grab me. I wasn't being like, professional MMA or nothing like that about it. Like, I just straight up swung off on the dude because I was pissed drunk. Man, I probably would just let slide it otherwise. So I'm that small. Especially because I had no idea how serious they take that shit down there. It was only goddamn misdemeanor, first offense ever, and I do 121 days in jail. My first jail bid ever. In a foreign state. Thank God the show 60 days in it wasn't out yet. They would have thought I was part of it for sure. For sure. I will say though, jail down there is friendlier down there than the streets are here. Really strange assumption I made. And gave me a cooler nickname and everything. I literally didn't have no beef while I was in there at all. They even had a fucking pizza party. It was like the pods were competing. Whoever had the cleanest pod and shit, and the winning pod got like a pizza divided a slice a person. Like, what kind of fucking jail has a pizza party? You would never hear about that shit in Atlantic County, New Jersey. No, the fuck you wouldn't. Let me tell you, I will do all 4 of them months again with a smile before ever doing 2 weeks in Atlantic County again. Now, if you ever been to Atlantic County, New Jersey, you know why, like, I'm saying that kind of shit, like, and they cheap as fuck with their food compared to down south, and they just have the same smushed up combo noodles and shit just served in different ways. Fucking pound cake was like the highlight of the meal. Ugh. So yeah, I'm even familiar about the jail culture. Me of all people, right? I fit in great for my 4-month bid with where I was literally the only person without a felony in the whole pod. Cause like everyone else was getting released before that. I was mad as hell. This one guy freaking beat his girl half to death and got out after like a month. I'm like, what kind of lawyers are these guys getting? I did have a public defender my first time. That was an honest mistake. I was a northerner, had public defender. It was like, it just bad all around for me. You know, they just basically, they gave me the whole, like, maximum possible thing was a year, and good time is half of that, which is 6 months. And they actually gave me the whole year and suspended some of it for 2 years of non-supervised probation. So if I fucked up in any way for the 2 years, I had to do the rest of that time. And all of it, not just half. So that was a hell of a crash course in the jail culture. They actually did a summer school, or not summer school, summer camp style prank on me to break me in by putting, I know I'm really gonna make myself get cracked on for this, but they put freaking 16 things of laxative in what they call a swole, where they make a mix of all kinds of commissary shit and everyone throws in or whatever, for like them to all serve each other. And they put it in mine when I wasn't looking. And oh my god, man. And you get no privacy, man. I talking about the worst ones of my life for a couple days straight. I mean, ooh, man. And I had to have another dude in close vicinity the whole time, cracking the fuck up, because he knew it was going to happen to me, and he watched it all go down. But I mean, they got me, and I even laughed it off to the guy. Like, it was this like Irish and freckly red hair guy, and he wasn't no like big Bubble type, like, wasn't any more built than me. And I was like, bro, you pulled one on me, And he was like, had to break you in somehow. Believe me, there are worse ways that can happen in places like this. And I'm like, no, that was a pretty cool way. Pretty creative too. So creative that I actually did it to my next cellmate. Yeah, so it was like dumb shit like that. Fucking everywhere's friendly down there. Everywhere. Fuck. I don't know if I was just in a really good area or something. I must have been. Or I had to have been. Because I know city areas, you ain't gonna get it that easy. I think I just had it easy that first time. Because it was the only time I ever had like that. The other shit, like, every time I ever got in trouble, I was always just drinking. That's why I don't drink no more. I'm done with that shit. Been done with that, you know. I just do my smoking and everything. That's my pain management. You know, no more fucking with perks, no drinking, none of that. Can't do it. Can't manage it. You know, it makes me into someone I'm not. Like, that's the thing, you know, you have to fall hard, but you get back up twice as strong as you fell down, you know? Because, like, you already know what rock bottom is in that situation, and you know you don't want to go through it again. Definitely not something I'm trying to relive for some dumb shit. That's why I pick my fights, you know, only when I absolutely have to defend myself. And I never, like, you know, flaunt, like, just that I could just fuck someone up or something. Like, someone in the streets and shit, you know. Fuck, man, I'd be fighting everybody. And, man, my head can only take so many more freaking blunt hits. I mean, after that car accident, like, I try and tread carefully, you know. I have permanent brain damage. No lie. So, yeah, I mean, that's my whole background. I mean, and it all made me into, I grew into a bad person, you know. I ain't gonna lie, like, I had to hit a 10-day detox to freaking stop doing opioids and stuff, because after my surgery on my chest and everything, and just after 3 surgeries in like 3 years, 3 serious ones, man, I mean, I was loving them perks and you know, one thing leads to another, let me just say that, but I never ever put a needle in my arm, thank God. Like, never crossed that barrier, so I stopped myself early on. And that's something I'm also never trying to revisit. That's why I suck up the pain. Knowing that there's bigger pains out there, like that pain of withdrawal on top of the pain you're already gonna feel anyway. Fucking, you get days of that shit, and it exploits every little pain you feel anyway. Every little, like, twitch of every muscle, you feel every bit of it, you know? Empty out your whole freaking stomach, you know? Hell no. But, you know, I try and preach to people who don't know what it's like to be down that road, you know? Because, like, I'll tell them, like, you know, if there's a crazy ass situation, most likely I have been through something equally crazy. Like, no matter what the hell you name, something fucking that could really fuck a person up early on. Except, like, I mean, I can't say that I was ever, like, raped or molested or nothing. You know, I did have a bus driver who tried some pedophile type shit, and he got fired because my dad helped me out by making me carry an old audio recorder, one of them old school cassette ones, and caught his ass. That was a smart man. Rest in peace. Fucking taught me how to make someone bury themselves, and that guy was getting away with it for a minute too, because he was in that job 17 plus years, they said, I think, and he was a baseball coach. And true stories, man, all true stories. And you know, I was the one student who stood up and, like, stopped all that shit, because, like, I wouldn't let him fucking touch me, and, like, no one believed me, so I had to, like, tape it to prove it, you know, because I was, like, 7th or 8th grade. And, yeah, man, I've seen some sick shit, though, that he did to others, let me just say that, and it was all on tape audio. like very specifically too. It's amazing they did not have an open and shut case, but I think that like there was some agreement made out of court with the parents of that kid, something like that. I don't know. I don't know all the details of it, but somehow he only got fired. But I don't know. I thought I damn near killed the motherfucker. I mean, that was in his sick years. I mean, I have an easy time sympathizing with people who feel in a dark place. I don't talk about it all the time, but like obviously, I've been through a lot of levels of dark places. I've been through some of the darkest of places. I've been through solitary confinement in jail, which actually kind of reminded me of my upbringing. Solitary fucking confinement. Nah, it was worse. Like, I can't lie. Being treated like an animal, literally. When I was green at the time, like that, they call it, you know. Yeah, it was definitely a lot taken. Like, you know, just, I don't know. Since I was younger, I always looked towards the darkness rather than away. You know, most people look away from a tragic thing. I've always just looked at it, just blank stare, you know, like, I don't know. They used to say they thought I was gonna, like, go Columbine. But then again, like, because of the whole trench coat, goth look, you know, long hair. I won't lie, the thought did cross my mind a couple times. No, I mean, if anything, when I was down on myself, I would be more of a risk to myself than anybody else. Like, I went through the cutting phase and all that, you know. You know, like, that's why I never judge people. No matter how low of a life someone's living, I know that, like, there was some point in their life where they said that they would never become that, and then somehow that there never became their reality. I could definitely say mine never became my reality more times than I could count, in good and bad ways. And I learned a lot from all of it. I mean, all of it, like, I definitely, you know, I try and not have my kids ever know that guy that I was at some of them points in my past where I was an embarrassment to myself and the others around me. I mean, I did some pretty bad stuff and some pretty morbid stuff, and like, it's definitely something that I'm glad they'll never see that guy, you know, or never know that guy. At least not firsthand. They'll hear stories if they ever need to hear them, because, like, if they ever need to know that I understand what they're going through on some. I like, yeah, and I know what it's like to be afraid every freaking day of getting beat the hell up in school, and then not even have the person get caught for doing it. And, you know, you're all bruised up and everything, and the guy still gets away without even getting caught. And that happened fucking for years. Like, no bullshit, man. I used to hide out in the bathroom in my younger years. I definitely been through it. Came out of it. Self-hate, addiction, you know, heartbreak over and over in all kinds of various ways. I've broken hearts. You know, I've become very, you know, I've gone through all kinds of stages in my life. Like, I've become really revengeful at some points. I became really angry with myself, angry with others, man. Like, somewhere you just gotta, like, draw the line and say, like, this ain't who I want to be forever, because you know what the fuck is gonna get you. And shit, man, the things I survived that most people in healthier shape than me wouldn't have. Like, that made me think twice. Like, man, I gotta grow the fuck up and appreciate everything I got right in front of me before. Like, you know, what if I had never walked again? What if, like, I don't know, I might become really suicidal. I can't imagine not walking at all. Like, that would be no life for me. I mean, like, coin hobby can only keep me busy for so long, but then I want to walk somewhere. And yeah, I mean, definitely lose my strongest point all at once like that and be completely dependent on others to even grab the TV remote. It just pushed me to my breaking point every way. I still recover from all these things every day, the memories of them. And one thing that it's just weird, like, cause I become this whole different person whenever I'm around my kids. Like, even if I'm upset, I won't show that side to them unless I want them to see that I'm upset with them or something. Like, I've learned to just keep it in and let things out at the right ways at the right times, you know. Unfortunately, not everyone in this area thinks the same way I do. They haven't learned from their fucking mistakes and they'll make a shit ton more. Just had this dude come at me with a freaking bat not that long ago, and I had to freaking damn. I got lucky. Let's just put it that way. It was over some dumb shit to this probably early 20s kid over the dumbest thing that wasn't even something that I did to him or anybody that like was in his car or whatever. He had two people that never got out the car. He came at me with a freaking bat over the most basic thing. You know, you hit someone in the wrong spot one time with a bat, you could kill them, and you're gonna do it over something that dumb? Catch a murder charge? Fuck that, man. That's why I pick my battles, man. You know, I know what it's like to have my blood shed, and I know what it's like to shed others' blood, and that ain't what I want to pass down as like my legacy, you know. And yeah, it's just I definitely grown a lot in just the last few years. I'm sure y'all have seen me grow a lot. You guys could probably tell I was a lot more pilled out back when I had longer hair. I was always on Percocets and shit, usually rambling on, but I was on stronger stuff than just weed and like, you know, me tell my background. But yeah, I mean, I was pretty irresponsible, more than I should have been. Fortunately, nothing ever happened, but definitely let go on longer than I should have. It costed more money than it should have. It was an addiction, you know, just physical dependency that happens when you're on that dosage. You should never put someone on like that much, even if they do really need it, not long term, no, because they're gonna get physically addicted to some extent. Yeah, I just thank God, you know, that I'm even as good as I am now, and I'm still far from perfect. Make no mistake, I still hold a lot of dark in me, and I just try and use that dark to let others know that, you know, there's always a way out. You just gotta find what it is. You know, you gotta watch for the warning signs. You know, think of like what the fuck got you there in the first place. Like what was, you know, move A that led to move like D or whatever. Where was what happened? Like, you know, everything in between, like cause and effect. You know, we've been taught that concept since what, fucking elementary school, man. Concept of cause and effect. I'm going on a rant and a half today, people. It's because I'm about to beat Shell Khan's ass after how much I've been fucking repeatedly been trying to beat his ass and have the computer beat his ass. I've been beefing with him since the 90s, since Mortal Kombat 2, back when he used to point his finger like an angry parent. Remember those days, people? Those of y'all that grew up in the Sega era? Mortal Kombat 2, he used to point his finger and say the same shit over and over. He was like the most annoying guy to fight as a boss battle and shit. Super hard. And he's like impossibly hard on this shit. I've been fighting him all day before this shit. And I'm about to make a second video of me when I finally beat his ass, because let me tell you, the odds are stacked. Even the computer can't beat his ass for all these hours. I don't know, it's just been, you know, a long, lonely day, so I figured I'd make it a little less lonely. You know, maybe other people out there, they ain't got much going for them. You know, as shitty as things are, and as lonely as most of my days are, like, I'm actually thankful that it's not as bad as it has been at some points. You know, you've had to truly had the worst to appreciate things like even being normal. I mean, for one thing, just too much is normal around here. This shouldn't be, you know. I ain't gonna lie, I still look over my shoulder whenever the fuck I leave my house. Cause I know, you know, if someone wants to come at me, they're gonna get me, you know. Or they at least can have the jump on me before I even know what's going on. And ain't no cops gonna be around. But hence why I say I have a love-hate relationship with my home state. You know, it's, God knows it's all I know. Probably the only place where I'll ever not seem like an asshole or like self-centered. One of the few states where no one really gets on you for this kind of shit. At least not nowadays. But for real, I need a goddamn vacation. Like I said in that video, man, I need to get the fuck away. I really would actually like to see my daughter that lives out of state. That I recently, like just within the last year, found out that I had a daughter that lived out of state that's 8 years old that I never knew and never knew me. And I had moved back before she was born, lost touch with her mom completely, never knew shit about her, she never knew about me. But then one day, less than a year ago, suddenly I get a message, this very serious, heartfelt message from both, you know, her mother and her current husband, or whatever, who is an extremely nice guy also. Like, they're both, I consider them friends more than like just, you know, the parents of my child, whatever. Cause like, you know, he's her like adopted father, and I respect that, you know. We all left it to her discretion if she wanted me to like be called dad or whatever. Like, it's a very, very unusual circumstance, and then it's, you know, out of state, but even though it's like 3 state lines away, it's only about 3.5, 4 hours away. I can manage that, man. We've already seen her twice. My other kids met her and everything. It's a huge thing to have dropped on you, but I was given the choice to say yes or no. No questions asked. I said, and I knew this would put the final nail in my marriage too, because both worlds couldn't exist. And I decided to say yes. A month and a half later, I moved here, and within a couple months after that, we met for the first time, and then everything was revealed, and we actually, I mean, genetics, that must be a real scientific thing, because like mannerisms that my other kids do and everything, it was crazy. Like, I mean, and then the genetic features they're so uncanny. We didn't even grow up around the same culture at all. Like, it's just amazing, you know. And I'm glad that at least I had the opportunity to make up for, lost time. And let her talk to me whenever she's up for it or whatever, usually at least once a week, something like that. We have video chats and stuff. I'm just, what would you do in a situation like that? Where suddenly an ex comes out of the woodwork and just drops a bomb on you, like, this is definitely your daughter, and would you like to meet her or not? We won't ask anything from you, we just want to know, and we just want to put the offer out there. Like, they were so nice about it and collected, and I could sense the realness. I mean, I see a lot of lying in the streets around here, a lot of shady characters, and I didn't sense a hint of shadiness for once in my life. It's actually one of the few things I never had to think twice about saying yes to, especially with my son standing right in front of me as I was reading the letter, and I'm thinking like, oh my god, I have every impression in the world on this kid who's like basically the same age as her, and I'm his like everything. I mean, he wants to do everything I do, and this other kid never even knows who I am or nothing, never even, like, doesn't, like, know their siblings, and it just felt like so, like, it felt like I was, like, the ultimate case of favoritism ever, because I spend so much time with these other three. So, like, how could I ever say no to one and ever forgive myself? Because then I have to look at the other three, knowing that I gave them a whole life that I never gave this other one the chance to have. And it was a major leap of faith, could have went a lot of ways. And like, I am so happy it went as great as it did, Like, things get a little weird sometimes. Definitely a unique situation, but God, I'll tell you one thing. I can open up to, her adopted dad and her mom about more things than most of my friends here. Cause like I know like they're straightforward people about shit with me, and I've had some deep talks with them about things, like, and I'm glad to, have developed a friendship on top of everything else too. And another reason that I should take a little short vacation down south. But yeah, that's another little reason I'm just kind of antsy to get away from here for a bit, because it would be nice to get down that kind of area, see her, something like that, Only time will tell, people. But like, this is definitely about as deep as I'm gonna get. Like, this is start to finish pretty much. Well, minus the boring shit. I don't know. I'm just showing guys, like, it's not as basic as it seems, it's not as simple as it seems. Like, there's a lot behind the scenes stuff that goes on that I just don't talk about until it's right to talk about. And yeah, I mean, damn, I made this into an hour-long saga. Like, I'm gonna call this shit life story, literally, because that's pretty much what it is. It's just showing that, like, I've been through it and I came out solid as a person. So, if I don't doubt myself, you really shouldn't either, because trust me, I have plenty of reasons to doubt myself. And I will be honest, sometimes I do, but I just never ride as hard on myself as I used to, because I know it's always been worse. Could always get worse. Just try and keep things as far away from the dark as possible, because living life looking in the direction of dark ain't gonna always work out eventually. And that's just what it is. No one gets lucky 100 out of 100 times. I mean, shit, if you do, then throw some of that luck my way, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, if you actually ain't bored to shit by now and actually watched this thing from start to finish and took interest in it, shit, man, like, you might have the rest of a life than I do. Because, I mean, I think I definitely am guilty of that. Like I said, I can entertain myself all day. I freaking did my whole childhood. Well, at least like the first 10, 11 years, something like that, I should say. I don't know. It's all done, you know? It's where we end up that matters, not like where we start out, you know? Make our own choices the whole way. Sometimes choices are made for us, you know, like my car accident. That wasn't my fault. But, you know, you make the choice to get back up and start to literally retrain yourself to walk or just stay in a wheelchair, for example. And oh my god, that was so painful every step. It's one of the pains you never forget, I'll tell you that much. Like, that's why I get scared to even try a jump kick. Like, I will kick off of the ground, but I will leave at least one leg on the ground and make sure it's planted and planted well. Oh man, that would be a painful break. Like to like misplace that or something, because I mean, not help to care by much, you would think. I don't know. Bones recover though, right? And I just feel like my body got a lot of miles on it. Definitely got some city miles on it. I'm quoting fucking Men in Black 3. Let me end this shit. I'm starting to bore myself. Anyway, appreciate you watching. If you watched this porn shit, if you actually like this shit, please let me know. Like, if you actually were really vibing with the whole, like, you know, the funny shit, then the serious shit. But the excessive cussing, I'm sorry. I did kind of smoke weed through this entire hour, too. So, give a guy a break. But man, you know, I only do this kind of stuff when my kids ain't around, you know, because then I can talk, you know, about things more adult, you know. Can't do everything in front of them. I try to be the cool dad, but I can't be too cool that they start thinking, you know, oh, this is just okay to be like that, you know. I know they're gonna make mistakes, but I don't want to be the one that teaches them. So, like I said, I like literally just insta snap into a different personality with my kids. I don't know, I like the person I snap into, because God knows I love every minute I talk to him. Definitely made my life less boring. I mean, and they all like have their own, like, you know, very different personality from, like, none of them have a similar personality at all. Very different things that they're all good at. I'm proud of them all, you know, like, I don't regret none of the mistakes that led me to them. I do have to say that. Like, the struggle and, you know, all the failed relationships, even though that went down, like, things didn't turn out that bad, because I still, you know, I got them. I don't, like, hate their mothers or nothing like that, you know. Like, we all make mistakes, man, you know. Like, all you can do is make the best of them and go from there. So now I'm gonna work on video number 2, which is going to be just me doing the fucking Mortal Kombat 11 match. This totally difficult, fucking impossible match that not even a computer can beat. You know what? I'm gonna let the computer play as me, and then I'm gonna show you just how hard it is with the specific stipulations. This fucking shit's annoying. I've been beefing with Shao Kahn since the 90s. I think that's my longest beef I ever had with anybody. Ah man, I'm stupid, I know. Alright, but peace out everybody. Seriously, anybody that enjoyed this, anybody that vibed with this video, or really felt like they've been through any things I talked about, whatever, or want to talk about your own experience on something that's like, you know, similar, whatever, fucking give me some feedback, man. I spent over an hour on this shit, you know. I know I'm bored, but I could have done other things. I could have already had his ass beat. Alright, well, peace out everybody. Be safe as usual.